What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to the 30th episode of the Quest Podcast. I am your host for the evening, Dark Optimus. So let's get right into it. What have you guys been playing this week? Oh, shit, I forgot. That's right. Let's get to the panel first. Let's introduce them. Let's introduce my buddy, Remix Essence. What's up, bro?
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Real excited for tonight's show. You know, we're headed on into August here, and that means the topics are arriving again through that drought.
That's like baby
So
making
let's get
season,
on into
isn't it?
things. Huh?
It's like that
baby making season?
Baby making season?
Oh, yeah, the big 3-0, baby. Baby
The
making
big
season.
3-0.
That's where we are right now.
But let's get into our other panel member, Sir M. Baines. What's up, bro?
Not much. Ready to get the show going. Glad for everybody that drops through the 30th episode, and we'll have some fun. Let's go.
Definitely. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun show tonight, everyone. So, what have you guys been playing this week? I'm gonna shoot it to Remix. What have you been playing, bro?
Yeah, man, obviously, heavily dove into that Destiny 2 beta. May have been playing some other games here or there, but the other main thing is Ratchet and Clank, man. I've been playing through that and really enjoying that game. So those are the main games I've been playing.
Now with the Ratchet and Clank, what would you say is probably your favorite moment in Ratchet and Clank so far that you've gotten to?
Oh, man. Goddamn, just throwing a curveball at me. I don't know. I kind of like Captain Quirk's little, like one-liners here and there, and like how he's narrating the story. But like just on the game as a whole, like I like the kind of gameplay diversity. Going from like playing as Ratchet to like being in a ship or like hoverboarding or playing as Clank. So like I feel like there's a good mix-up and variety of gameplay, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
All those weapons are pretty cool too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Gotta put some upgrades on them.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. It's definitely an in-depth platformer. I absolutely like that one. That's probably one of my favorites.
I highly recommend it for anybody that hasn't played it. For sure.
Definitely. Baines, what have you been playing?
Finished up Knacked. Well, I was about to say Knacked too. Finished up Knacked. And played the Destiny beta with you guys, and then some other multiplayer games with you guys. And the main game has been Kingdom Hearts. I'm going through that Kingdom Hearts series. So.
Now, what has been your favorite moment in Kingdom Hearts so far?
I wouldn't say. I guess it's not favorite moment. It's just it gets on my nerves because some of the controls are still kind of archaic, even though, even though the visuals and stuff still look decent. It's just some of those controls. It's just I'm on the first 1.5, so it's just getting used to that old school deal again. But I'm getting through it. It's still good. Like the building of the story is starting to really come out and come together too, as far as where I am. So I'm enjoying it.
Nice, man. Hell yeah. Now, what have I been playing this week? Well, let's see. Been playing Destiny 2. Beta with you guys. Played a little bit of Battlefield 1 with you guys. But mostly I've been playing the original Destiny. And one of my favorite moments of the original Destiny is the fact that it has consumed my entire life. It does that to you, man.
Talk about that nonstop.
I know. I'm like, I figured I'd get into it again just to kind of play through the, just kind of get the feeling of the first person aspect of it again. Because, it's a little bit different than COD. It's kind of different than, it's different from other first person shooters out there. And so, I'm thinking to myself, well, I kind of want to get geared up for Destiny 2, kind of, be so I'm not sucking throughout the, when 2 comes out.
Yeah,
so
hashtag get good kid. Yeah.
Yeah, like
pretty much.
Get revived 6 times.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of you guys reviving me like 15 times, I can get revived maybe 14 times.
Yeah.
But speaking of Destiny 2 beta, what did you guys think of it? Was it a lot of fun? Did you guys, play the Strike? Did you play the Crucible? What did you think of the story mode? I want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man. So, we'll start off with the Strike. I mean, I thought it was good. Definitely some like interesting moments. Like with the big saw blades coming through. That was cool. And the boss. I don't know. Can we talk about what happens with the boss? Like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beta. I mean, I'm sure people.
Yeah, I mean, it's open to everybody.
Yeah.
So, the floor falling through and stuff. That dynamic was cool, but the Strike I feel was like maybe a little bit short. But overall, I enjoyed it. As for the multiplayer portion of the game, I thought that was great, man. I didn't play Destiny 1 at all, but I was hopping into that multiplayer and had a blast, some real good gunplay, and yeah, I'm excited to definitely dive into that when the full game comes out, for sure.
Definitely. Baines, what'd you think of it, man?
I really enjoyed the story. I mean, I enjoyed the
story.
the updated visuals on the game. It looks really good.
Yeah.
The multiplayer was, for some reason, I felt it was a little slower than the last one, and I didn't like the fact that it was 4 players versus 6. But I guess it's something I can get used to. The multiplayer felt familiar because the maps are basically the same. But other than that, I'm just looking forward to the full game. It seems like they are going to be pretty invested in the story. I mean, they really got me on that one. So,
yeah, I'm excited for that story. Definitely a cool antagonist, so it should be exciting. And I like Kane and all those other characters too. I mean, Kane's the most notable, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, all those characters are really good. Of course, Cade is probably the most recognized character in the Destiny universe because it's played by Nathan Fillion. He's a comedic relief. He gives Savala's kind of this tough no play around kind of guy, and then I forgot her name, Ikora. I think that's it. She is more like kind of the mix of both of them. She can kind of joke around. She's
kind of passionate,
Yeah, she's very passionate.
Like when she goes and blows up the ship because like the speaker's gone. She's like, "You will not take anything else from us," and attacks the ship.
Yeah, dude, she's definitely a badass character. Luckily, this time around, we get to see them in action and actually do some stuff that we haven't seen them do. Because they were kind of in the first one, they were basically just at a table the whole time. You would get missions from them here and there, but for the most part, it would just be them basically just saying a few things to you, and then they would leave, or you would leave, and you go off on your mission and stuff. I really enjoyed the beta. I cannot wait for the game to come out. When the first one came out, it really consumed my gaming universe at that moment because I think I played that game for like 2 months while it was out. And I know people were probably thinking, well, how much, you didn't have any content at that point. Yes, but the grinding is real, and I love grinding and I love loot. So that's one of those things that I'm like, I know Destiny 2, when it comes out, I'm going to be excited for it. I'm going to probably be playing it a lot with you guys. I'll probably want to be playing it with some of the people that we know in the community as well. And if you guys do pick up Destiny 2, don't hesitate to hit me up. We definitely will jump in there and play with you. It'll be a lot of fun. I feel for sure.
And also I played around with all the weapons in the game and all the subclasses in the game, and they all feel pretty good from what I play. Like I died from the Voidwalker a couple times, which was a little annoying. I was like, God damn, this radius is so large, but it is a super, and it's definitely difficult to win like a 2v1 gunfight unless you have like a grenade or something. Especially if you're out in the open. And yeah, I mean, like overall, like the gunplay and everything felt pretty good. All the guns seemed to have their place. The SMGs were very like short range, and then you have like some longer range pulse rifles,
right?
Rifles and everything.
Right. Speaking on the guns, you know, the exotics that they gave you, like in the beta, I was actually kind of surprised that they give you exotics because I don't think in the first one they gave you exotics in the first demo of the first game. But the exotics, some of them were pretty cool. I liked the like basically the uh, machine gun that they gave you for the Titan. I liked the hand cannon. That hand cannon for the hunter was badass.
I fucking
dude.
love the hand cannons, dude.
Dude, that hand cannon was sick, dude. And I was all like, man, hopefully there's, I know there is gonna be more hand cannons like that, but I hope that there's gonna be like maybe maybe like a one shot up close hand cannon up in the game, but we'll see, and it just depends. But yeah, definitely a good experience with the beta. I thought the story was very interesting. I'm excited to see where they're taking it, see where they're gonna go with it.
Right.
But yeah, man, I'm jonesing for some Destiny 2. But
sure.
let's get away from Destiny and talk about another Activision game called Call of Duty World War II. And they just came out. Well, they didn't just come out, but about a week ago they came out with their Zombies trailer. What did you guys think of that? Man, that trailer was freaking crazy. That freaking dude, I was scared out of my mind with that trailer. Like I was like, man, this thing is gonna be like Dead Space. Holy shit! And I know it's made by the people that did Dead Space or something like that, right?
Well, it seems like each year they're trying to get the Zombies portion almost to where it can be its own little separate game. And it looks like this one's gonna, go deeper that way. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely like fans of Zombies in Call of Duty that pick it up just for the Zombies,
just for that, yeah.
And have wanted like standalone Zombies games. But man, this game, like this trailer, got me like excited. It was intense. It seemed like it might actually be pretty gory and like definitely giving off some mad scientist vibes. And I'm excited, man. Hop into the Zombies. I love Zombies. I was more into like the earlier Zombies games and haven't really played too much since, but I'll definitely have to dive on into this for sure.
Yeah, this Zombies definitely feels like a real like type of Zombies game. Like it's a really horror like, and I like that they're doing that this time around. I know in the last one that they did with Advanced Warfare, it was kind of a mixture of Black Ops 2 Zombies. It's kind of a mixture of it, except you didn't have to build the walls up, board them up and stuff. But I think this time around they're really pulling something out of a hat in this one and giving us something that's really unique and different that's coming to COD.
I usually don't play the Zombies. Like I haven't touched Zombies in a while, but the trailer actually got me really interested in that. I'll definitely be playing it this time around.
And like this trailer looks kind of gory and stuff, and supposedly the actual like story of Call of Duty, is supposed to dive into the Holocaust a bit, obviously being World War II, but when you kind of go back and think on it, like not many World War II games really hit on the Holocaust, they kind of go around that a little bit. So seeing like that the Zombies might be kind of gory and stuff, I wonder how far the story will dive into kind of like the Holocaust and stuff, because that could be a touchy subject.
Right. That's definitely going to be somewhere where they're going to have to be careful because, it is a very touchy subject and it happened. But it's a time in history that happened. And I think it's something that really needs to be touched in gaming as long as they do it right and as long as they pay their respects to what happened at that point in time.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, dude. I'm looking forward to it. Any other thoughts on the Zombies trailer at all, guys?
No, it was really just a short trailer, but it was enough to whet your palate, enough to whet your palate to get you really interested. So
definitely. So we're gonna move on to Atari Box. What did you guys think of the design? What do you guys think of the console? Do you guys think it's gonna be, you think it's gonna be like a long-standing console that's gonna go up against the PlayStation 4 and go up against the Xbox One and just really just fight it out to the death. I don't think it will. I think it's just gonna be one of those, just kind of like a Steam box. I don't think. It's
I get kind of a Steam box vibe from it.
Yeah, I just
go ahead,
Ben. My main thing is that I know it's gonna play older school games. I like the design of the box; it looks real cool, especially one with the wood grain. But my main question is I know it said they're gonna play like newer type games, and I'm just trying to figure out what are those newer type games. Because we really don't know any specs, as far as I know, right? We haven't heard any specs about this console, so I don't know if they're shooting for like a Nintendo Classic type deal, or since they have said that it's gonna play newer games, maybe it's just gonna be indies or something like that. I'm just why do you guys think, number one, why do you guys think that they haven't released the specs?
Well, that's the thing. I'm surprised they released the design of it first before releasing the specs of it, because I mean, most people want to hear what's going to go into this thing, especially us, hardcore gamers. We want to know if this, because a lot of us grew up with Atari and know what Atari is. And for them to not kind of give us any information except for the design and what kind of like a vague explanation as to what it's going to play on it.
They showed you ports, right? They showed you what ports.
Exactly. And plus, we don't even know if they're going to be like the new games, like Assassin's Creed Origins or anything like that. They just said newer games, so it might not even. It might be games that we played like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's just really up in the air right now with Atari and that Atari box.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, how much like third-party support and all that stuff is Atari like have association that with other companies that they're gonna make exclusives for this thing? Like, we don't know yet, and like the box does look sleek, both the old school and the kind of like new school one. And obviously, like, it showed like it has internet connectivity, HDMI, USBs in the back. But like one person I saw like brought up like maybe like we don't have this information yet because it's gonna go to Kickstarter, or maybe like this is just something out there to pique people's interest and see if they're gonna have investors or not. We don't know all that. But I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna do great. Especially because it is, like, I feel like the NES and like Nintendo and all that stuff, like that's a little bit more like, what's the word? Nostalgic to people.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be like the NES Mini or anything like that. It's supposed to be, its own actual system, and that's why, we kind of get the Steam box feel from it. But yeah, it says current old game, so, and like specs, dates, and games, and the price, those are all things we have to wait on. But I don't know, it's interesting. They made their own YouTube channel called the Atari Box. It just has like a 22-second video on it right now. But so maybe they're pretty serious about the thing, but we'll have to wait and see.
Right, definitely. I mean, it's interesting. It kind of intrigues me a little bit because, they're kind of trying to bring back their old school ways, and that's always a good thing. But at the same time, we don't really know what's going to entail, and that kind of sucks. I wish they would really give us something that we can kind of sink our teeth in and be like, oh, okay, well maybe I might actually pick that up or whatever, but we'll see.
For sure.
Speaking on boxes, I want to speak on a sandbox game, a little sandbox game called Ghost Recon Wildlands, because they're coming out with a PvP mode called Ghost War, and that looks actually kind of cool. I don't know why, but I think it will be a lot of fun to kind of get your friends together and kind of go in there and play that little mode, especially since the story mode's kind of it's all right, but it's not that great. I mean, I watched video and I was just like, nah, not for me. But what do you guys think of that PvP mode that's going to be hitting this fall? Do you guys think it's really going to take off, or do you think it's kind of going to fall flat?
I watched the setup for it, and if I could ever get you guys to get the game and it's on some type of sale, maybe we could figure out what's really going on with it. I thought it would look pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, right when I first thing, like when I posted this link on DM,
get the damn game.
First thing when I posted this DM in the chat, it's Baines is like, I'm just Remax. You guys gonna pick it up now? I'm like,
well, it was on sale, right? It was like what, 30 something bucks or something like that.
Yeah. But it actually does look pretty good. I just watched it today, and it does look pretty good. But I'm not gonna pick up the game. It's not enough to intrigue me to get it. I feel like the combat's gonna be kind of slow because it's supposed to be this big open space, and like I'm into Siege, right? It's Tom Clancy and everything as well, Ubisoft. But and that's slow, but that's like in a congested area. I can't pronounce words. But nice. This game is just gonna be like wide open. I don't think there's gonna be much like cover and like forced interaction going on between like opposite sides. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But like the guy that was talking did seem pretty passionate, and he did like make me want to go in and try out the multiplayer aspect.
Right. Well, that's the thing with this. I'm thinking to myself, this is coming out in the fall. It's coming out probably around the times where we're going to be playing like Destiny. We're going to be playing Battlefront. Battlefront. We're going to be playing Call of Duty. We're going to be playing Assassin's Creed. We're going to be playing Wolfenstein. There's so many games coming out. Do you really think that this mode is really going to kind of hold people's attention and be like, yeah, you come back to our game and play this instead of playing those other games? You know what I'm saying?
Probably not during the fall, but if they can, keep the buzz going on enough through the fall, it may pick up, early next year.
Yeah, and I also think
one question I had real quick is it? Yeah, I don't know if I glossed over this in the article or not. So excuse me if I did. But is this? Can you play the beta if you don't own the game, or do you have to own the game to play the beta?
I think you have to own the game. I'm not too sure on that one. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that either. But I feel like it'd be kind of weird because this could be something to entice people to get the games. Exactly, it'd be kind of weird if you have to own the game. But I mean, usually I feel like Ubisoft does some kind of sign-up system. So, but anyways, I think like it just kind of shows like you see Ubisoft making all these different moves out there, and it shows that they're long-term supporting these games. We're gonna get into another topic here in a bit, but like they did with Siege. They brought dedicated servers in a second year of content to Siege, and now they're adding this free 4v4 update to Ghost Recon Wildlands, and so I think it's just like Ubisoft is doing a lot of kind of different things to build up their reputation more, because they've always kind of had like they've slowly been dinging down, and so now they're building up and like taking their time on Assassin's Creed and all those things. So I think that's kind of part of them bringing this out, showing like long-term support for all their games, because that's something also like the Division lacked. Like people didn't think there was enough support there. So
yeah, I mean, you even have a DLC for Steep, so Ubisoft they are about supporting their games, and that was even because I don't know if a lot of people paid, but their last quarter that they reported was actually really good. And one of the things that I forget what position this person held, but one thing he was alluding to was that how they're trying to put more emphasis and more support behind their games because they have such a diverse lineup of games. So maybe not so much as having to pump out new games all the time. If they could if they could put more support behind the games that they have, the portfolio that they have, they can really, make a lot of money, which they did this past quarter, based off of that type of system. I mean, I think it was like 80% of their sales were digital too, and that shows you a lot with the way digital is going. It's just an offshoot of what we're talking about. But go ahead.
Mhm.
Right. So speaking of Ubisoft supporting their games, For Honor is getting dedicated servers, fellas. What do you think of that? Do you think this is going to be like a Siege thing where they're bringing it back, making it better? What do you think?
Well, look, this is the first step, and dedicated servers cost money, so they're putting more money into this. So maybe this is the first step in reinvigorating this title. So we'll have to see. It's a different title. I mean, if they can get the player base back up, it'll be a good thing because it is a different type multiplayer out there that I think is pretty decent. Its biggest downfall was, peer to peer. It freezing up every time somebody wants to enter or exit the game. That was a big issue.
Yeah. Overall, it's just nice to have dedicated servers. But I made the comment before the show. Siege had a big boost in player base, and then they got their dedicated servers. I don't know if For Honor could go as mainstream as like Siege kind of can and is. But it's like I said, Ubisoft showing support for their games, and if they have dedicated servers for this game and their future games, like that's really nice. So that's what I'm kind of interested in is that like their future multiplayer games having dedicated servers.
Right, and I mean, and even when they do come out with a title, it just gives you more confidence that they are going to support the title.
Yeah.
So Ubisoft is actually setting themselves up to where they could shoot a multiplayer only game out there, charge you $60, and you may feel confident in purchasing it because they're building up a history of supporting their games long term. So you're kind of confident in that sense that you would get more content, keep the game lively. So they're setting themselves up. Yeah. So,
right, exactly, and them supporting For Honor is good for a lot of the people that are playing For Honor and have been playing it throughout the summer. Them to get dedicated servers is always a good thing because, as we know, with dedicated servers, especially from Battlefield, we know that we'll be able to get into games without lag and without people that are retarded and stuff like that, because you know how people get when they play video games. So it's definitely a good thing. I think for me it's whatever because I never played For Honor. I didn't like it when I played the beta, but it's a good thing. But do you guys have any other thoughts on the For Honor dedicated servers?
Nah.
no, sir.
Well, speaking of another game that's supporting its the developers are supporting this game like 3 years out. Like it's crazy. Is Dying Light. Dying Light is getting 10 free DLCs within the course of 12 months. Now, from what I've seen, it looks like they're going to be putting in new weapons. They're going to be putting in new enemies. They're going to be doing different like not really missions, but more like kind of like Destiny's patrols kind of thing. Yeah, events. Yeah, things like that. So what do you guys think of this? Is it going to bring you guys back to Dying Light to play it, or are you kind of like, well, don't really care about the DLC, but it's a good thing for people who really care
First
about
off,
Dying Light?
I'm loving these transitions here, but the second off, yeah, I don't have Dying Light. I don't own it, but I think this is a great thing. They're seeing like their game has great support. Still 500,000 people a week are hopping on and playing it, which is pretty amazing. And so they're like, our fans are supporting our game, so let's go and support our fans. And so I think that's really awesome. See a massive update like this. a few years into the game being released. And so, yeah, overall, a good thing. It'd be awesome to see more companies do this,
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing and kind of a bad thing because you're kind of like, well, would you rather have the Dying Light Part 2 or would you rather have all this extra DLC? And
That's true.
to me, I would rather have Part 2. But, the player base is just still so massive that, I mean, why not? And it's a good thing for the player base to keep putting some type of content out there for them to keep the game alive. So, would I go back to it? Probably not. I just finished Dying Light a few months ago, so I'm done for right now. Maybe I'll revisit it first of the year or something just to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting into a busy holiday, man. I'm not worried about Dying Light, but I think it is a good thing for the player base.
Definitely, I think a lot of people are feeling that same mentality with Dying Light. They're like, well, it's cool, they're getting DLC, but we're getting into this holiday season and got some games I gotta buy,
Yeah, and you do bring up a good point about,
but luckily it is free.
Have the DLC or a Dying Light 2. But the point that it's free is nice. But this could also just be something to tie over some fans. Like, this seems kind of like, it's a definite afterthought thing. So maybe they'll tie over some fans while they make a new Dying Light, or they're working on a whole different project, and that's why they're doing this, because they're not gonna be back to Dying Light 2 anytime soon or something like that.
I hope that's not the case because Dying Light was so good. But we'll see.
I think they're gonna kind of move on and do something else. At least from what it seems like, they might be doing something else. But yeah, we'll see. So games with gold for August. So we got what? The only ones I can think of are the 360 ones, because the fucking Xbox One versions of the games with gold are trash. They're trash, damn it.
Games with gold. We got for the Xbox, we have Trials Fusion.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Just trash.
And then we got the debut of Slime Rancher.
Oh gosh,
that's what he's like. Trash. And then on the 360, we got Red Faction. What is it? Armageddon? Something. Yeah. Yep. And we got Bayonetta. So
now those 360 games are really good, man. I mean, I'm telling you right now, but Bayonetta, if you've never played it, pick it up when it comes out for games with gold. It is an absolute gem on that console. It's absolutely fun. Red Faction Guerrilla, it's good. It's not great. It wasn't like Guerrilla. Did I say Guerrilla? I meant Armageddon. Guerrilla, the first one, Red Faction Guerrilla, the remake. Well, technically, it was like a reboot. Was really good. It was a lot of fun. Destructible environments. I was kind of surprised they didn't give us that one. I was kind of surprised that they gave us Armageddon, which was more linear and more third-person shooter-esque. It was kind of like Gears in a way. So it was kind of surprising that they didn't give us the first one. But with the Trials Fusion, that's pretty cool. That if you like those games, if you don't already have it, I mean, it's probably something that you're going to play. The other one, the fuck is that thing? I'm like, Jesus Christ. I have no idea what it is. I don't care what it is. It looks like trash to me.
Yeah.
We have to have one of those per month.
You gotta have at least some trash.
I'm interested in Bayonetta. I've seen Trials Fusion at a drop dead low price before and still didn't pull the trigger. Although there is some interest there, so to have it for free is really good. So I'll probably try. I'll try that one out. And what was the other Red Faction? I've heard some good things about that. Maybe I'll give it a go, but we'll see. They'll definitely be next year sometime when I do try. But it'll be good to have them in the library to come back to.
Sure.
So like it's a pretty decent one.
Yeah, whenever I hear about Red Faction, I hear about Guerrilla, not Armageddon. So, but I mean, it doesn't look half bad. I might check it out. Probably not. Probably throw that one in the backlog. But like, I'll definitely give a look at Bayonetta at some point because I'm interested in that game. Never played it, hear lots of good things. Trials is something like I've never really want to spend my money on, but I've kind of wanted to have. So, I'll definitely give that a go for sure. Just like have some good fun. Me and Baines, Euonymus, we can mess around in there. And then for the Slime Rancher thing, yeah, kind of looks like trash. Well, I might give it a look, It looks a little like, not like Minecrafty, like not the same style or anything, but, you're going to be in some kind of world doing stuff with the, you're going to be slime farming is what you're going to be doing. So,
well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. But speaking of treasures, I think PlayStation has some of the treasures of this month for their PlayStation Plus games of August with Assassin's Creed. What was it called?
Freedom Cry.
Freedom Cry and Just Cause 3. Now, those are some pretty good games, especially since they have Uncharted the DLC coming out, and they have Hellblade coming out in the beginning of the month. Now, those are some games that to me is like, okay, it's kind of warrants you having PlayStation Plus. But what do you guys think of those games?
Yeah, I think these are some real good games. I'm probably not going to play Freedom Cry, but I think it's a good game to have and to let you guys know, like that is standalone, so you don't need to own Black Flag because it is a Black Flag DLC, but it's standalone, so you don't need to own Black Flag. But I probably won't play that game. As for Just Cause, that's something I was interested in and just never pulled the trigger on. And, it's still a fairly new game, so I'm definitely excited about that game, and I'll definitely be, making some mayhem in there because I hear lots of good things about the second one. To be kind of more of that. I think people still prefer the second one, but I'm excited to hop in there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had a visual hiccup on the PlayStation 4 with that game, but I think they put out a patch that helped it be a lot more smoother. So I'm pretty excited to kind of pick that one up. I'll definitely be getting that one. I probably won't get the other one, the Freedom Cry, because I already played it when it came out for Black Flag. So it's not really something that I'm probably gonna want to go back and play again. But it is, if you're really like looking for like a short Assassin's Creed game to kind of hold you off until Origins comes out, it's definitely something that you can jump in and play for. I think it's only like 5 or 6 hours, somewhere around there. It's not even that long. It's actually a lot of fun though. But Baines, what do you think of the PlayStation Plus games for August?
Really good month. I haven't played Freedom Cry. I already have Just Cause 3. But I'll probably hop in the Freedom Cry. And as far as Just Cause 3, I mean, it's still in high action points. It still stutters like I don't know what in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just beware of that. But you're getting it for free, so you could live through it. But it's pretty good month for them. Now I don't know the other games that they have that are just accessible on PS3 and I think beating. I don't know the other 2 games that they have.
Yeah, I mean they had a few other games like on the PS3 and Vita, but one of their Vita games is also on the PS4,
on the PS4. Yeah.
And it's something about going down a well.
Okay.
It's something. It's like up well, down well, something with well in it. But I guess it got high over on the iPhone, and then they brought it to the Vita. So I think you're just kind of like dropping down, and you have like bullet feet basically. So you're shooting bullets out of your shoes and stuff. So if that interests you,
that sounds like a game you would play. Honestly,
me,
I have to say it. Yeah, it's that indie trash that you would play. I
because I just have an entire catalog.
You have a backlog of indie trash, dude. Okay.
Except my entire backlog of indie trash is games with gold.
Some of those games, like No Time to Explain, Last
those
Station.
You got for free. Those were even me.
No, I don't believe it. I think you bought them.
Because even Baines got them.
Baines buys stuff at random, so he might have bought them a long time.
Don't even try.
Shut up. So speaking of those games for PlayStation Plus, it's kind of funny to me to think, that they're kind of giving us these two really, AAA type of titles, while Xbox is kind of giving us 360 titles that are AAA, but no Xbox One titles that are kind of AAA. I think Trials Fusion is kind of AAA, but it's more kind of like, indie type.
It's like a fun with friends kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, and the way Xbox really comes out a lot of times on top of these is because you're getting 4 games you can play on your system versus just 2 more times than not on the PlayStation 4. Even though the PlayStation 4's month with just those 2 games is probably at gold or better, or just a little bit better than gold for this month. So that's how Xbox really gets over a lot of these months, because you're getting 4 games you're gonna play on your system every time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so they kind of have a grasp on what the community wants, and because they know that
backwards compatibility, man, it's killing. It's killing.
It is. It really is.
When it comes to Xbox Game Gold, it is killing. You get 4 games every month.
Yeah, I definitely probably look forward more to Xbox's games with Gold. Especially, I mean, that 4 games is a lot, compared to PlayStation's 2. But over at least the recent months, but I feel like PlayStation has kind of been killing it on their free games versus Xboxes have been a bit lackluster, especially in the summertime. Like, come on, I feel like Xbox could put a little bit more effort in to give us some nice games, because PlayStation gave us like Killing Floor 2 and Until Dawn. This month's games they've had high AAA games, and while Xbox has had more quantity, they haven't had the quality these last few months.
Right, like Xbox still has Rise in the cards that they could play. Like
I think they already made that free though.
Have they?
Yeah, they've already made that.
They have, not Rise.
Yeah, Rise was free.
Yeah, Rise was free. Yeah,
it must have been a while back then.
Yeah,
it was free. It was that was last year. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was last year. It was free. Okay.
But I mean, they could definitely do Quantum Break. They could do something like that.
Too early for Quantum Break.
I don't know. I mean, they did Sunset Overdrive like not that long ago. I mean,
yeah, but that was a launch title along with Rise, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't really a launch title. I mean, it came out a year after the Xbox One launched. So
for all intents and purposes, it was a launch title.
All right. I guess a year out is considered a launch title. But I mean, it's not that they're dropping the ball on these games. I think they're thinking to themselves, if we can give these guys our community 360 games that everybody loves for free, then it's really going to warrant them to try to buy some of these other backwards compatible games, or actually try out some of these backwards compatible games. I think the reason why they probably haven't really given us any AAA big huge games for Xbox One side of games with Gold is because I think they're kind of they don't really have too many exclusives that could really hold people off throughout the summer. I mean, Forza could do it, but I think they've already done it. I think they already did with Forza 5. I think it's a little too early with Forza 6 and Forza Horizon 3. So it's kind of, and then Baines said it was a little too early for Quantum Break. So, I mean, they're kind of at this point where they kind of, they're kind of digging into the 360 backlog of games and pulling those out.
Noof made a good point on Twitter, and he was like, he thinks that games of Gold may be suffering now, and maybe will suffer in the future because of Xbox Game Pass. So you'll have the access to the game. Yeah, you'll have the good games in Xbox Game Pass, so you may not get them in Xbox Games with Gold, which could that could be, that could be something that we have to look forward to in the future.
Mhm.
No, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm bashing the Xbox. I think, it's just, the games that they could be giving us for Games of the Gold, they just haven't been. I understand why they're not doing it. It's kind of like this whole Game Pass kind of thing. They're really kind of trying to put that out there. And then plus, they're thinking about, the games that are coming in the fall as well. They're thinking, because August is going to be kind of, the beginning of the fall, really. Because we got Hellblade, we got Ages of Mayhem, we have Uncharted DLC. Yes, those, granted, two of those are DLC.
You got Lawbreaker.
Right. Well, most of those are PlayStation exclusives, but we also have at the end of the month Life is Strange, and then right after that it's Destiny. So it's like, I understand that. Like, huh?
I said it's starting to pile on. The games are
right.
Exactly. So it's definitely starting to pile on. So we'll probably start seeing more AAA. I think last year they kind of did it kind of in a nice way. They did it right after the holiday season, and they did it like I think in January. I think they had some really good, and I think they're kind of holding off until January to have some of their more AAA Xbox One type games.
And that's always a good feeling too, because like, your money is spent. You're probably not picking up anything in January, So if they do come out with some strong games with gold, then that's a good thing, and I think that's fine. But like exactly. I feel like those are the two times like they should really be trying to hit it is the summer, like June and July, and then right after the holidays, I think would be good.
Definitely. Well, we killed that topic to death, man. We freaking stabbed it in the heart. It's over with. We need to move on to some Battlegrounds. And it's already running at 30 frames to 40 frames per second on the Xbox One X with 100-player servers. So you know what that means? That means 100 players in a server at one time. And this game, I cannot wait for this game to come out because it's so much fun on the PC. It's going to be a lot more fun with a controller in your hand because I'm a controller guy. I'm sorry, PC elitist, but I love my controllers. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is going to be really good for the Xbox One X?
Well, yeah, we know it's good.
Definitely, yeah.
When the X is, the frames per second will probably be. Somebody said it on Twitter also. 30 frames per second on a console is different than 30 frames per second on the PC.
Right.
So if they can get it at 30 frames locked, I think it'll be a good experience on the console. So well, they almost know that they're working diligently on it, and I think the article stated that this may be pushed out to 2018.
Right. Exactly. So like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what Bane said. I think that's probably why Battlegrounds isn't going to come to the X. I think it's going to come to the One, but not the X until like early 2018, and that's probably because they're still doing like frame testing or different testing on that piece of hardware because they may not have been developing on there for as long or whatever.
Right. Well, they're going full 4K with that one, so it's kind of trying to get as much frames as they can on this game, and they're trying to make it look as beautiful as it can be on the X. So it makes sense.
And it is like for its genre, like Battlegrounds is the best looking game in its genre for sure.
Definitely.
Right.
So
as opposed to like H1Z1 or any of those games.
Yeah, like as opposed to like Daisy, H1Z1, other Battle Royale games. So yeah, I think this is good. I don't really know about what you said with like it's different on Xbox than PC, the frames, but I think this would be a nice game to see if it hit 60. But I'm not really a picky gamer, so I'm excited for this game to come out and kick some ass with Optimus and Bane's here. for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna definitely be. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's gonna be a game people are gonna love playing on their Xbox. I guarantee it. I'm saying it right now. These people are gonna be picking up this game day one, playing the shit out of it, and are gonna have so much of a blast playing this game because there's just so much intrigue with it. Because every match can be different. Every time you drop into the map, it'll be a different type of gameplay because you might jump out of the map right away and get freaking hit in the face with a freaking shotgun or something. It's gonna
you might be like dropped in and just like fucking stumble onto a bunch of loot. Or you might be scavenging, man, like 20 minutes in. You're like, God damn, I need to get me a sniper rifle to pick off these fools from long distance or whatever the case may be. But
right. Well, also the thing is I honestly don't know how they're going to do it with the S, but I know with the X they're having the 100-player servers, which is a lot of people playing this game at one time. So it's going to be, I don't know how if they're going to downgrade it on the S or the original Xbox One. To kind of fit in those 100 players. I mean, are they going to bring the frame rates down? I mean, are they going to bring the resolution down for the regular, Xbox One players, or is it going to be, almost similar to?
Well, I mean, the resolution's a given. It will be low res,
right?
But
low res.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're still playing on 100-person servers because that's how it's meant to be played. Even if like the frames and all the rest is dinged, do what you gotta do to, give me as smooth of an experience as possible, but still put me in that 100-player server because that is how the game is meant to be played.
Right.
It's definitely going to be interesting because you hear a lot of people that play on PC talk about it, and this game is really CPU heavy. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a downgrade visuals take.
Yeah.
And the visuals can't take that much of a downgrade because then it affects your draw distance, affects how you can see across the field. So I mean,
CPU intensive. That's interesting because I mean, the X really like its CPU boost isn't huge. I think it's like 2.3 gigahertz, right? So
yes.
So I mean, we'll see how much power they can punch out of there, but
yeah.
And that's the thing, they're gonna definitely give us a good experience, And if you get it on Xbox, you'll be able to play it on the X when it comes. It's not going to be like you have to buy it twice or anything like that. I think they'll definitely have that 4K patch with the 30 frames, 40 frames per second. I think it's going to be 720p, 30 frames per second locked on the Xbox One S and the original Xbox One. With maybe minor downgrades in the graphics. But to be honest with that game, you don't really need graphics.
It's all about the gameplay.
It's all about the gameplay with that game. And it's still a lot of fun, even if, I play on the PC. I played it on the PC. I'm not really a PC kind of guy. I don't really like, mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's a lot harder. I understand, it's more precision and stuff. But, I play it all at low settings, man. I play it really low with really high frames, and man, is it a lot of fun with it being so.
I have a lot of fun, and I'm thoroughly entertained just watching it. So I know when I play it, it's just gonna be
definitely.
Yeah, and there are some like intense moments when like dudes are in buildings, like I was watching this one guy the other day, and it's like a whole like two. So like their team's kind of in the middle of the hallway of the building. One team comes in on kind of like their right side. They wipe everybody out. Immediately a whole nother team comes on their backside, and they kill the whole other team. And they're like, holy shit, man. Can't believe we just survived that.
Yeah, man. It's going to be an intense game.
Where the circle, because each time the circle gets smaller, each match, it gets smaller in different areas of the map.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So one time I was watching it and it got smaller in a patch where everybody was prone. Everybody in the last little bit of the circle was prone, and they were waiting for somebody to pop up or somebody to move slightly so they could see where that person was and locate them and pop them. You know, so it's just stuff like that. You never know where the circle is going to enclose, so that changes the gameplay so much. That's what makes it. That's what makes it big. You know, exciting.
Definitely. Speaking of the Xbox One X, hopefully, finally, we will be able to pre-order it soon. Oh, it's going to be glorious when we get to do that. Because apparently from Phil Spencer, he has, from their plans over there at Xbox, they're going to be giving out pre-orders very soon. I'm thinking it's probably going to be right after Gamescom, because Gamescom is coming up, in a week or two or something like that? Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around there. So, and it's kind of the perfect timing because in August, there's not very many games, so we can kind of, there's not very many games. I shouldn't say there's not very many games because there's a lot of games, but there's not, a ton of games that people are like, oh, I'm jonesing to play that. So I think, a lot of these people are probably going to, either trade in their S's or their extra, consoles to get the X, to pre-order it and everything like that. So I think, for them to kind of reassure us to say, hey, pre-orders are going to go up soon, just wait, give it a little time, because I think they were honestly thinking about it being after Gamescom. I honestly don't think they were shooting for right after E3 or announcing it right at E3 saying, hey, pre-orders go up today.
Yeah.
Well,
I honestly don't think they were shooting for that.
Well, ideally, I think they wanted to. They were just waiting for final approvals to come in on certain parts of the system, and that's what happened. I think he even stated in an article that they finally got approval on every part of the system, and now they can go ahead and set the time for their pre-orders, which ideally they're going to wait until Gamescom. Maybe they'll make some type of cool announcement with it too.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, we don't necessarily know, but that does kind of seem like he kind of made a direction to that story, Baines. Yeah, but at the same time, pre-ordering console 5-6 months out, that's kind of early. I think Gamescom, they'll have a bit more to show off. Finally, show off the Crackdown 3 multiplayer, and have one last hype and get people to buy it or pre-order it, and you're much closer to your box actually being delivered in August.
I think I would fall on the other side of that. Give me longer for the pre-order, because then I could pay it off piecemeal.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people sometimes they like to just pay it off, go in and pay off little by little, and the longer they have to pay it off, the better for them. So they can they can do their money the right way, or however they need to do to pay that system off, versus being a couple of months before or whatever, and then they have to give out that lump sum right then, So just switch it out. I think it's better.
But instead of paying it off piecemeal by piecemeal, you could just be saving piecemeal by piecemeal in the meantime.
That's true. Because especially since the X is coming right already, you knew it a couple of years. You knew a year ago that it was coming. If you really wanted it and you knew it was coming, you should have saved then. If you were somebody,
human nature in our society is not built like that.
Yeah, they impulse buy, and then they're like, shit, now I gotta shit out.
That's why I be sitting listening to people say that, well, you're gonna buy it, or you should have did it. No, society as a whole is not like that. Now, if you're like that, or whoever is like that, that's good. But society as a whole isn't like that. And if you want more people to buy this, I think the longer you give them, the better.
Right. Well, they also needed clearance from I forgot what do they call those Well, they needed to make sure that they had all their bearings in a row before they were able to do the pre-order. So we'll be seeing them soon. It's
Do
a
you think
good
we could
thing.
possibly get a pack in with Crackdown 3? No.
Honestly, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to sell the console separate, and if you want to buy Crackdown 3, then you can. But I don't think they're going to do any bundles. I think the only bundles they're probably going to do are with the S. Because they're going to have the Shadow War bundle. From what I've seen, I think they'll probably have a Crackdown 3 bundle. It might, you might not get the 1 terabyte console, but you'll probably get like the 500 gigabyte white Xbox One S, and it'll be cool.
I mean, they're definitely pushing the S harder, but I think it'd be a bit of a bummer to some people if they weren't bundling the X with anything. Like, you would think like they would do it with Motorsport, Forza Motorsport 7, which I'm not interested in, or Crackdown 3 because it's supposed to be this whole big cloud computing masterpiece, right? So, I mean, I know if I was picking it up day one, I definitely want that day one Crackdown 3 bundle.
Yeah, I mean, all of us are gonna want the bundle day one if they can do it. But honestly, I think if they do something like that, it's gonna be by the retailers. The retailers are gonna decide if they want to bundle in a game, because they've done that before in the past where they've decided to bundle in certain games. Because especially around Christmas time, they kind of do that kind of thing. But since this console is coming out at November 7th, it's like, okay, well, it's almost close to Black Friday, so probably won't see any deals on it during Black Friday, and then Christmas is right around the corner from that, so it's like, it's so close, man, to see a bundle. I mean, definitely. I mean, if they had it, I'd definitely pick up a bundle instead of just the console itself. But I don't think they're going to do any bundles for the X. But we'll see. Who knows? Speaking on Xbox, doesn't have a blank check for their first party games, people, and that's because they are a faction of Microsoft. That they have a boss saying, hey, for Phil Spencer, he might be the head of Xbox, but he's got Satya Nadella telling him in his ear, hey, no on some of these games, because we don't have the money to be fleshing out for these games when we got our Surface Pro fucking studio shit craziness.
Fucking $5,000 right there.
$5,000. People are buying that, not these games.
Right.
So I understand where it's the guy from NeoGAF is kind of coming from, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, the dude's on NeoGAF. Like, NeoGAF is such a fucking waste of the goddamn time to me. Like, honestly, like, why? Who sits on fucking NeoGAF all day, like, looking for this shit? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think about it?
Well, like I told you before, I think he does have sort of a point, just looking at the overall, trajectory of Microsoft. And, back in the day, I used to read about when Satya Nadella, whatever his name is, first came on. His whole deal was about, platforms as a service. And that's what Microsoft has been pushing ever since then. And I think that idea has permeated through Microsoft, period, and that it has affected the Xbox division, which is why you're not getting as much money for games and marketing as Ballmer would have pushed, or as even Bill Gates pushed, because the thinking overall at Microsoft is different. So therefore, Xbox is kind of suffering because of that. And I think that's why we don't see as many games as maybe we saw back in the 360 generation. It's just an overall different mentality that's going on. So I think he has kind of a point. I don't think he's just saying this because he loves PlayStation. and he's talking about Xbox, maybe that has some to do with what he's saying, but I don't think. I think if you look at the overall picture, he kind of has a point with where he's going.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you on some points there, Baines, for sure. And I like all the services that Xbox brings through the Xbox as well. I think they're doing things that are just good for the consumer, like the return a game after within 14 days and things like that. But also, like, the problem I have with the article was overall is, sure, he's saying this about Xbox, but I mean, he has no comment on PlayStation. And PlayStation, I think, is killing it so far, 2017. I mean, you look at fucking August, it's like, damn, you got so many games that look interesting. I mean, I bought Lawbreakers. I'm probably not going to pick up like Hellblade or any of the other ones, but they do have interesting games. But before 2017, PlayStation was severely lacking in games. And I feel like Xbox, though it may not be the amount of games that we are used to, has steadily brought out, 3 games every fall, or a few games every fall. So
and these are AAA games, they're not like this, these niche titles. I know people hate that when I say that, but you got to understand, a lot of these JRPGs are very niche. They're very, they're very Japanese oriented titles. They're not, and a lot of them too. And
because,
a lot of them,
it fills the portfolio, man. I mean,
it does.
I hate that argument because, like I said, it at least gives you something to whet your palate to the next big thing.
But that's the thing.
If you just don't have anything,
most of these aren't AAA, Japanese RPG titles, man. These are, very,
name one.
AA. Look at Valkyrie, Revolution. That's not a AAA, dude. That is a freaking AA.
Okay.
I
mean, look at Last Guardian. Last Guardian sucked. That's all they had last fall. But I mean, this spring, they've been doing good. They had Horizon Zero Dawn, and
they had some good stuff.
I honestly think the roles are completely reversed, and we just don't want to talk about it. Like in the beginning, PlayStation relied a lot on indies to fill the gap between until they got into their
So do you think
titles? You know what I'm saying? And now the roles are kind of reversing. Microsoft is going to rely a lot on indies to fill the gap between their big titles. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that, but it's exactly what's happening. The roles have completely reversed.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely give it to Sony. 2017 is good, but my point is that Xbox is still bringing out some games. Like, they're not. And sure, I'd like to see more games, and sure, I'd like to see them take chances on games. And I think that's related to, that Xbox is a branch while Sony is PlayStation, pretty much. But, I mean, we're still getting games. I mean, you look at the last fall, and we had Gears and Dead Rising and
Forza
Horizon 3. So, we're still getting games.
Yeah, we're still getting games, but here's the thing.
The article was, let me say, I think the article was like Xbox doesn't have a blank check, and what you just said it makes it all the more true. Like, Xbox is just a division of Microsoft. It has a lot of other services. PlayStation is Sony. PlayStation is holding up Sony. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different way of looking at everything. PlayStation is looking at this like this is the only thing we got that's really, really keeping us afloat. Of course, they still have some of their divisions left, but they've divested a lot of their other assets, like through the years they have. And so now they're looking at PlayStation like this is the thing that's going to hold up, going to keep this thing floating and keep us going really good. So,
right.
Well, I think at the moment, PlayStation is letting their developers take some more risks, and Xbox isn't.
Many risks. I wouldn't say that. I say it as this, like what Baines is saying. From this is this Sony's a fucking fat ass elephant. in the room, and PlayStation is the only thing that's holding it up, and kind of saying, hey, we have to do these AAA exclusives for our console because we don't have anything else. Our TVs are shit. Everything else that we've done is shit. Our fucking movies are shit. I mean, look at what the last Ghostbusters did. I know Magic Mike, he's gonna fucking hate me for this one, but that last Ghostbusters movie didn't do so well, and it wasn't that great. Like it was okay. It was like, but it wasn't fucking awesome like we were expecting it to be. And Xbox, is the division of Microsoft, and it has
to go to somebody and ask for money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It has to have someone for money. And plus, you guys got to understand, like, exclusives don't sell that well. It's not like, of course, Horizon Zero Dawn sold a lot. It sold a lot. But in the context of things, exclusives don't sell that well. They don't sell, like Call of Duty or Battlefield or these AAA third-party games. They just
I always
don't.
like to say it like this: exclusive may not sell as well as they used to, but exclusives are the ones that turn heads.
That is true.
Exclusives are the ones.
They do
exclusives are the ones that make you do a little more a little more investigation or about the product if you're thinking about getting it. So if you're thinking about getting the PlayStation and the Xbox, and you look to see what is your division, if you're thinking games, you need to have games that are going to make someone do a little more work in looking into your system versus the other one. And that's what exclusives really do.
Yeah, I mean it's all fine and dandy with exclusives. I love having exclusives, but that's coming from a hardcore gamer. Most of these casual people and casuals are the majority we're the minority. They're the majority of gamers, and they don't give a shit about any of these freaking exclusive titles. They don't give a flying fuck about Gears of War. They don't give a flying fuck about Halo. They don't care about Horizon Zero Dawn.
I'd beg to differ on Halo. But
okay, maybe
wait,
Halo.
One sec.
But Gears, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. So, we were kind of talking about this earlier in the week. I think all three of us, and we're kind of talking about which like exclusives more people are into. And when you go through the Xbox list, Halo is the big game that might sell a console for someone, right? But when you look at Microsoft's big other franchises like Gears, I fucking love that game, but it is niche. It is a niche title. Like I used to be.
I don't know if Gears is niche. Not nowadays.
I mean, it's like bigger, but like not everybody's into that kind of gameplay. Like I could tell you, like Gears 1, 2, and 3. Like I saw kind of like Gears 2. I was like, and then, but I don't know, that gameplay and style and stuff. It just turned me off at the time.
That's the gameplay style that spawned your Uncharted and stuff like that. They took that gameplay style,
Right.
I feel like it's different gameplay style. I mean, like it plays differently, dude. I mean, like going up and mashing someone.
It's cover-based shooters, and Gears made that hot. You know what I'm saying? Gears was the one that made that part of gaming hot, and that spurned your Uncharted's and your other games in that certain gameplay genre was those cover-based shooters. Gears made that, so that's why I would beg to differ that Gears is not like is one of those games that doesn't go over to the casuals. I think Gears does. Gears and Halo, they do. Now, if you want to talk about Forza or something like that, then I'm with you.
Yeah, Forza definitely doesn't. I mean, I don't know. If I went to my friends list, right? If I just looked at a group of, let's say, like Call of Duty players, I feel like a Call of Duty player is much more likely to maybe branch off and play Halo than play Gears. That's what I would say. Okay.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyways. And then, like racing, Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport, those are both, racing. Not everybody's into racing.
They're niche titles.
Yeah, exactly.
Bot's going to kill me when he sees me next.
Niche. There you go, Bot. But PlayStation titles. And yeah, I think we like in the future, we're kind of seeing, in my opinion, a bit of a trend of kind of like similarity and what like it's like a different story and maybe different atmosphere, but like the gameplay isn't too switched up. But people are into those very story driven kind of action adventure games, and that's what Sony has.
Definitely, you know, but I think in the long run, I think Xbox is they're gonna start giving us more exclusives. I don't think they're gonna be what everybody wants, but I don't think also that they're gonna be. Sometimes they might not even be AAAs, you know. Some of these will probably be indies, you know, like Cuphead. You know, that's not going to PlayStation, at least not that we know of. So it'll be more along the lines of that kind of exclusivity. It will be more indies, I think, and you know, we'll still get the AAAs here and there throughout the fall. But I think you know, for us holding on to hope that we're going to get stuff, you know, in the beginning of the year, I don't think that's going to happen. But of course, what they did show at...
Baines, is somebody fucking dying over there?
Yeah, it's like somebody, is everybody okay over there? But, you know, to keep on track of what we're talking about, fucking A, I forgot what I was going to say, man. God
Sorry, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, dude, somebody was hurling over there.
It sounded like somebody was throwing up. Like,
and, you know, it's pretty funny. But to speak on what I was talking about, with the beginning of the year of games, you know, like what we got this year, we only got Halo Wars 2, but here's the thing. Microsoft has always kind of been that way. You know, they've always been like the fall exclusivity type of, you know, company where they give us their exclusive games in the fall, and then during the, you know, after holidays months, you know, like January, February, March, April, May, those games are all AAA third-party games, maybe with one or two exclusives in between that. And then the next fall, guess what? We're going to get probably a couple more exclusives, like probably we're going to get Forza Horizon 4. We know that for sure because they've been doing that every year, giving us a Forza, you know, and
well, that's the thing. Like, people just got to realize PlayStation releases games in the spring, Xbox releases games in the fall for the most part. Because in the fall, you hear all these Xbox guys saying, "Oh, PlayStation, where's your games?" And then in the spring, you hear all these PlayStation guys saying, "Oh, Xbox, where's your games?"
Yeah,
you know, they just release in different parts of the year. And
Xbox has no games. That's what we're gonna hear next spring, you know. And then in the fall, we're gonna hear PlayStation, where's your games? You know, like it's just a back and forth kind of thing. You know, this is what we do. You know, I don't do it, but that's just because I don't give a fuck about that shit. And you know, because it is what it is. I mean, we're gonna get, if we get exclusive from PlayStation, I'm gonna go play it on PlayStation. If we get an exclusive for Xbox, I don't care. I'm gonna go play it on Xbox. I'm not gonna tout about it. I'm not gonna sit here and cry about that I didn't get an exclusive for Xbox during freaking February and March and shit. I'm not gonna do that. So it is what it is. We killed this fucking topic tonight. So let's kind of bring it back down to earth. And let's, you know, sometimes we talk about movies, sometimes we talk about tech on the show. Sometimes, you know, we get into some really deep conversations. But I want to talk about Ready Player One trailer. It's a new Steven Spielberg movie that's coming out. Did you guys watch the trailer? What did you guys think? You know, the pop culture stuff that is happening in that movie. Yeah. I'm just like, holy shit, this is, you know,
I thought like awesome. It was dope. It was action packed. It got me hyped. I was like, God damn, this looks fucking amazing. But I don't see any like, and maybe we'll get in the movie. And I really hope the movie comes with it because everything else looks epic. But I don't see any like plot line really like being introduced here. That's my big thing. Like everything looks. Tons of cool shit's going on. They're racing cars, giant robots, they're slaying whatever. They're in like the video game world. But, you know, what is the plot? What's the story? Is it just like Obviously, like this kid looks like these people are living in like a junkyard. Are they just using this?
No, he's not living in a
basically-
junkyard. They live in Ohio, in I think Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And it's set in a
I mean, they're like inside something though. It looks like they're walking between cars, honestly.
It's basically, there's nowhere else to go. The population is so big that there's nowhere else to kind of go except for home and then the Oasis. And the Oasis is basically where you could go and create things. It is almost kind of like a Project Spark, but with VR. That's the best way to explain it, but it's so much more than that. There's just so much. This film is going to be so cool, man.
I like the backdrop of the story. Like they're known as the I think like the missing generation or something like that, but it's not because
the missing millions. Yeah,
the missing
is this
millions,
a rehash? Yeah. Like is this movie a rehash of a middle school movie?
No, this is based off of a novel by the actual, I think the screenwriter of the film.
It kind of has like a Tron type feel to me too.
Well, he took a lot of things from pop culture and put it into his book. Like, the black. That's why you see the Back to the Future car in the film. In the trailer, you see Freddy Krueger, and it's snippets in the trailer. You see, Iron Giant. You see, I think the guy in the background next to Iron Giant was Deadpool. You see, different things from pop culture. That's why you saw the Tron bike with, you saw all that kind of stuff. And it all stems from things from pop culture. And it has a lot to do with, like, going into, it's almost kind of like that movie Gamer. You ever seen that movie Gamer?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's more in tune with, not people actually dying. It's more, you live in this made up world, and you basically, kind of play a game the whole entire time.
Yeah.
That's what I say. It kind of
like,
gives me a Tron type feel, because Tron.
It is. I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But like, I mean, the thing is, like, it looks epic, but it's like, I don't know, like, what is there? Like, is it just them? I like the backdrop and everything, but is it just them going on these adventures or whatever? Or is there going to actually be like a good story plot? Are they like trying to fix something? I don't know, but I'm definitely going to go and see it. Huh?
Read the book and you'll know everything.
The reading I do throughout the week is the articles for this podcast. That's it. That's what I do.
No, I mean, I understand that. It's gonna be an awesome movie. It's Steven Spielberg. He always does some really good stuff. He hasn't done too much good things lately, but I think this one's definitely gonna bring him back from some of the lesser known titles that he's been doing in the past. And it's gonna be a fun movie, man. I'm telling you. The reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I think it was kind of this, had a lot to do with pop culture, had a lot to do with gaming and VR and what's going on in our society right now with VR and AR and all that kind of stuff. And I think, it's kind of if you haven't seen the trailer yet, you guys definitely have to see the trailer. It's kind of cool, man. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
Right.
But do you guys have any other thoughts on Ready Player One before we get out of here?
Nope, that's about it, man.
All right. So it was a fun evening tonight, everyone. So we're gonna do some outros right now. I'm gonna start with Sir M. Baines. Where can we find you?
Yo, M. Baines 99, PlayStation, and Xbox. I enjoyed the show, man. And we'll holler at you guys next week.
Definitely. Remix, where can we find you, bro?
Yeah, Remix Essence on Xbox, PlayStation, and Twitter, as well as over on the old Mixer. I haven't really been streaming lately, and you might find me there, you might not. I'm gonna be gone for the next few weeks. So after that, I'll keep you posted.
Definitely. And I was your host for the evening, Dark Optimus. You can find me on Twitter at the same name. You can also find me on Xbox Live, playing that Destiny crushing your life type of moments. It's just, it's ruining me, man. I'm telling you, it's terrible. But I thank everybody for coming out tonight, checking us out. If there was any newcomers in the chat, I'm sorry I wasn't in the chat tonight. I'm usually not in the chat when I'm hosting. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe, and we will catch you guys next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Western. We are out, people.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace.